I was at my daughter's school play when I saw my husband walk in holding hands with another woman. They sat 3 rows ahead of me. My daughter came on stage, waved at the audience, and my husband stood up cheering, pulling this woman up with him. She kissed. Other parents were smiling at them like they were a couple. I sat there frozen. After the play, my daughter ran to them first. She called the woman Aunt Lisa and hugged her. My husband had been bringing his mistress to everything I missed for work. Before we continue, a warning. This is a fictionalized case study based on family court proceedings regarding parental alienation. According to the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers, nearly 40% of custody cases involve alienation tactics. This story examines the warning signs of replacement parenting and why legal documentation is the only defense that holds up in court. Now let me tell you my story. I was stuck in traffic on I-85, watching the clock on my dashboard tick closer to 6:15 p.m. The school play started at 6:30. If I didn't hit every green light from here to Zoe's elementary school, I was going to miss the opening. My phone buzzed. Text from Marcus. Where are you? Please start soon. I texted back at a red light. Stuck in traffic. Be there soon? Save me a seat. No response. I'm Simone Carter, 38 years old, corporate attorney at Henderson & Mitchell, one of Atlanta's top law firms. I specialize in corporate litigation, big cases, high stakes, long hours. My daughter Zoe is 7, second grade. The light of my life. Tonight was her school play, The Little Mermaid Jr. She was playing a seahorse. She'd been practicing her lines for weeks. I'd been drowning in a massive case for the past 3 months. Class action lawsuit, millions of dollars at stake, discovery phase that seemed endless. I'd been working 12, 14, sometimes 16-hour days, missing dinners, missing bedtimes, but I was making it to this play, no matter what. I pulled into the school parking lot at 6:27 p.m., 3 minutes to spare. The elementary school auditorium was already packed. Parents, grandparents, siblings, all crammed into rows of folding chairs. The lights were still up but dimming as I slipped through the back entrance. I scanned the crowd looking for Marcus. We'd talked about him saving me a seat near the front so we could see Zoe clearly. Then I saw him, and my heart stopped. Marcus was walking down the center aisle, holding hands with another woman, a black woman about my age, maybe younger. Beautiful, wearing a casual dress, laughing at something Marcus said. Comfortable, familiar, like they'd done this 100 times before. They sat down 3 rows from the front. Perfect view of the stage. I stood frozen at the back of the auditorium, unable to move, unable to process what I was seeing. Maybe it was his sister. But Marcus didn't have a sister, a friend. But why were they holding hands? The lights went completely dark. The play was starting. I slipped into a seat in the very back row, my mind racing. The curtain opened. Little kids in elaborate sea creature costumes filed onto the stage. I spotted Zoe immediately. Purple and pink seahorse costume, her face painted with glitter, bright smile. My baby girl. Zoe scanned the audience looking for us. Her eyes landed on the 3rd row. She waved excitedly, and Marcus stood up. That's my baby, he shouted, cheering loudly. Go Zoe, you got this. The woman stood up with him, cheering too, clapping. Then she turned to Marcus and kissed him on the cheek. He put his arm around her shoulders, pulled her close. Other parents in nearby rows smiled at them. A few people waved, like they knew her, like this was normal, like they were a couple. I sat in the back row, hands gripping the sides of my chair so hard my knuckles turned white. This couldn't be happening. This couldn't be real. But it was. I barely watched the play. My daughter was on stage, performing her heart out, and I couldn't focus on anything except Marcus and this woman 3 rows ahead of me. Who was she? How long had this been going on? And why did other parents seem to know her? The play lasted 45 minutes. It felt like 45 hours. When it ended, the lights came up. Parents flooded toward the stage to collect their children and take pictures. I stood up but didn't move forward. I watched. Zoe ran off the stage, her seahorse tail bouncing behind her. She had that post-performance glow, excited, energized, looking for approval. She ran past several parents weaving through the crowd, heading straight for Marcus and the woman. Daddy. Aunt Lisa. Did you see me? Aunt Lisa. The woman knelt down, opening her arms. Zoe crashed into her with a hug. You were amazing, baby girl, the woman said, her voice warm and animated. The best seahorse I've ever seen. You remembered all your lines. I practiced so much. Did you bring the cookies you promised? Of course I did. They're in the car. Chocolate chip, just like you love. Zoe hugged her tighter. You're the best, Aunt Lisa. Marcus picked Zoe up, swinging her around. You were perfect, Zozo. We're so proud of you. Zoe giggled, looking between Marcus and this woman. Lisa, you and Aunt Lisa are always proud of me. Other parents approached, congratulating Zoe. A woman I vaguely recognized from school pickup. Lisa, you must be so proud. Zoe talks about you all the time in carpool. Lisa beamed. She's such a special girl. We're so lucky to have her. We're a man with a camera. Marcus, you and Lisa did great. Raising a star performer. Marcus didn't correct him, just smiled and said thanks, man. She worked really hard. I finally forced myself to move forward, pushing through the crowd of parents. Zoe, my daughter turned, saw me. Her expression shifted. Not excitement. Just acknowledgement. Oh, hi mom. You made it. Not mommy. Not running to hug me. Just, hi mom. Like I was an acquaintance who'd shown up unexpectedly. Of course I made it, baby, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. You were wonderful up there. I'm so proud of you. Thanks. Polite but distant. Marcus saw me. For a split second his face went blank. Then he put on a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Simone. Glad you could make it. This is Lisa, my friend from the gym. Lisa, this is my wife Simone. Friend from the gym. Lisa extended her hand, her smile warm and genuine. So nice to finally meet you. Marcus talks about you all the time. You're always so busy with work. The way she said it, always so busy with work, felt like a knife sliding between my ribs. I shook her hand because I didn't know what else to do. Nice to meet you. My voice sounded hollow even to my own ears. We should get going. Marcus said quickly. Zoe has school tomorrow. I'll ride home with you, I said. I want to hear about the play. Marcus hesitated. We drove separately. You can follow us home. I'd rather ride together. As a family. The emphasis on family was intentional. Marcus's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Sure, Lisa, I'll talk to you later. Lisa hugged Zoe. Goodbye. See you Friday, sweetheart. Friday? I asked. Aunt Lisa volunteers in my classroom on Fridays. Zoe said. She's the best helper. Volunteers. In my daughter's classroom. How did I not know about this? The car ride home was suffocatingly awkward. Marcus drove. I sat in the passenger seat. Zoe was in the back, still in her seahorse costume, chattering about the play. Aunt Lisa helped me practice my lines. We ran through the whole play last weekend. She even made me a costume at first. But then the school gave us the official ones. Aunt Lisa came to our house? I asked, turning to look at Zoe. Yeah. She comes over a lot when you're at work. She makes really good snacks. Way better than the stuff Daddy makes. I looked at Marcus. He kept his eyes on the road. How often does Lisa come over? I asked him. Sometimes. She helps out with Zoe when you're working late. I didn't know we had a babysitter. She's not a babysitter, she's a friend who helps someone needs to be there for Zoe when you're at the office until 9 p.m. The accusation was clear. Zoe continued, oblivious to the tension. Aunt Lisa took me to my soccer game last month. Remember, Daddy? I scored a goal and she got it on video. What soccer game? I asked. The one on Saturday. The championship game, Marcus said. You were at the office doing depositions. I remembered that Saturday, a key witness deposition that couldn't be rescheduled. I'd felt terrible about missing Zoe's game, but Marcus had said he'd take her. He just hadn't mentioned he'd taken Lisa too. And she came to my parent-teacher conference. Zoe added. What parent-teacher conference? Marcus sighed. The one in September. Mrs. Johnson wanted to meet about Zoe's reading progress. I told you about it. I searched my memory. September. I'd been in trial prep for a major motion. Had Marcus mentioned a conference? Maybe. Vaguely. I'd probably said I couldn't make it, and told him to handle it. Lisa came with you to Zoe's parent-teacher conference? Yes. Mrs. Johnson wanted to discuss strategies for helping Zoe at home. Lisa offered to help with reading practice since you're not available. Every word was an indictment. Mrs. Johnson thought she was my mom at first. Zoe giggled from the back seat. She was like, oh, Mrs. Carter, so nice to see you. And Lisa had to say, I'm not her mom, just a family friend. It was so funny. It wasn't funny. None of this was funny. We pulled into our driveway, a beautiful house in a nice Atlanta suburb that my salary mostly paid for. Marcus worked in tech sales, made decent money, but I was the primary earner. Zoe, go get ready for bed. Marcus said. School tomorrow. Can I call Aunt Lisa to say goodnight? Not tonight, Sozo. It's late. Zoe pouted but went inside. As soon as she was out of earshot, I turned on Marcus. Who is she?
Really?
I told you. A friend from the gym. Friends from the gym don't hold hands. They don't kiss you at school plays. They don't come to parent-teacher conferences. Marcus leaned against the car, arms crossed. What did you expect, Simone? Excuse me? You're never here. You miss everything. Zoe barely knows you anymore. I work to support this family, to pay for this house, her school, everything. No, you work because you're obsessed with your career. You care more about making partner than being a mother. The words hit like a slap. That's not fair. You knew what my career was when we married. I didn't know you'd completely abandon your daughter. Lisa has been stepping in because someone had to. Stepping in? She's your mistress, Marcus. He didn't even flinch. She's been more of a mother to Zoe than you have this past year. I felt tears burning behind my eyes, but refused to let them fall. How long? Does it matter? How long have you been sleeping with her? 6 months. Maybe 7. I don't know exactly. You weren't paying attention anyway. 6 months. Maybe 7. Half a year of my husband sleeping with another woman. Half a year of this woman inserting herself into my daughter's life. And I'd been so buried in work, I hadn't noticed. Were you sleeping with her in our house? With Zoe here? No, I'm not that reckless. But yes. Zoe knows her, likes her. Lisa has been good for our daughter. I want you to end it. Tonight. Marcus actually laughed. End it? Why would I do that? Lisa actually cares. She shows up, she's there for Zoe when you're not. I'm filing for divorce. Good luck with that. His voice was cold. You think any judge will give you custody when you're never home? When Zoe clearly prefers Lisa to you? When every teacher, every parent at that school has seen Lisa being the mother you refuse to be? The words settled over me like ice water. He'd been planning this, building a case. While I was working to support our family, Marcus had been systematically replacing me. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed alone. Since Marcus slept in the guest room, replaying every conversation, every missed event. Every time Marcus had said I'll handle it, and I'd been relieved to have one less thing to worry about. He'd been handling it. With Lisa. First thing the next morning, I called in sick to work. First time I'd taken a sick day in over a year. Then I called my best friend Jasmine. Jasmine Cole was a divorce attorney at a different firm. We'd been friends since law school. She was tough, brilliant, and didn't pull punches. I told her everything. Girl, Jasmine said when I finished. He's been systematically replacing you. That's not just an affair. That's parental alienation. What? Parental alienation. It's when one parent deliberately undermines the child's relationship with the other parent. Usually happens during or after divorce. But he's doing it preemptively. Jasmine's voice took on her lawyer tone. Think about it. He's been positioning Lisa as Zoe's primary female caregiver, taking her to school events, parent conferences, extracurriculars, all with Lisa present. He's building documentation that he's the involved parent and you're absent. But I work. I know. But family courts don't care why you're absent. Only that you are. They look at who's been the primary caregiver, who takes the kid to doctor appointments, attends school functions, knows the teacher's name. My stomach turned. Marcus knows all those things. I don't. Exactly. And he's been documenting it. Every school event he attended with Lisa. Every conference. Every soccer game. He's building a custody case. Simone. Can he do that? Use my career against me? In Georgia? Absolutely. We're not a mother preference state anymore. Courts look at the best interest of the child. And that means evaluating who's been the primary caregiver. If he can show he's been more present, more involved, and that Zoe has bonded with Lisa as a maternal figure. She didn't need to finish the sentence. What do I do? First, start documenting everything now. Every interaction with Zoe. Every attempt Marcus makes to exclude you. Second, we need to find out how deep this goes. Has he been hiding financial information? How long has the affair really been going on? And third, get a private investigator. We need to know everything about Lisa. Background, history, the whole picture. Because I guarantee you Marcus isn't telling you the truth about who she is. I took the day off and started digging through our life. Started with Zoe's school. I drove to Ridgemont Elementary and asked to speak with Mrs. Johnson, Zoe's teacher. Mrs. Johnson was a warm black woman in her 50s. Been teaching for over 20 years. She smiled when she saw me. Mrs. Carter, what a nice surprise. We don't usually see you during the day. Is everything all right? The fact that she was surprised to see me at my own daughter's school told me everything. I wanted to talk about Zoe, and about Lisa. Mrs. Johnson's smile faltered slightly. Lisa Bennett, such a lovely woman. The children adore her. How often does she come here? Oh, quite regularly. She volunteers every Friday in the classroom, helps with reading groups. She's wonderful with the kids. Every Friday. For how long? When did she start volunteering? Mrs. Johnson thought. I'd say 5 or 6 months ago. Your husband Marcus mentioned you were busy with work and Lisa offered to help. She's been a godsend. Honestly, 5 or 6 months. The same timeline Marcus gave for the affair. In the parent-teacher conference? Yes. In September, we discussed Zoe's reading fluency. Marcus and Lisa came together. They were both very engaged, asked great questions, committed to helping Zoe practice at home. Mrs. Johnson, I need to be very clear about something. Lisa Bennett is not Zoe's stepmother. She's not family. She's my husband's mistress. Mrs. Johnson's eyes went wide. Oh my. I had no idea. Marcus introduced her as a close family friend. And Zoe calls her Aunt Lisa. I understand there's been confusion, but going forward I need to be notified of all school events, conferences and communications. Not Lisa. Me. Of course, Mrs. Carter. I'm so sorry. I assumed, well, with how often she's here and how much Zoe talks about her. How much does Zoe talk about her? Mrs. Johnson looked uncomfortable. Quite a bit. Aunt Lisa and I did this. Aunt Lisa taught me that. She speaks about her the way children usually speak about their mothers. The knife twisted deeper. I left the school and sat in my car trying not to cry. My own daughter spoke about another woman the way children speak about their mothers. Because I'd been absent, working, providing. And Marcus had used that absence to replace me. Next stop was our financial records. I went home while Marcus was at work, and Zoe was at school. Pulled up our joint bank account on the computer, started going through transactions from the past year, and found a nightmare. Transfers I didn't recognize, large ones, $5,000 to Bennett Yoga Studio, $3,500 to Bennett Yoga Studio, $10,000 to Bennett Yoga Studio. Lisa's business. Marcus had been funding it. More transfers. Some to Lisa directly, Venmo payments. For helping with Zoe, $500. Thanks for dinner, beautiful. $200. Love you. $1,000. Dinners at expensive restaurants I'd never been to. Weekend trip to Savannah. Marcus had told me it was a work conference. It wasn't. He'd taken Lisa. Hotel charges. Jewelry purchases. In total, over the past 6 months, Marcus had spent approximately $35,000 of our joint money on Lisa and their affair. I'd been so busy working that I hadn't even noticed. Then I found something worse. A $30,000 withdrawal from our savings account 3 months ago, labeled, car purchase. We hadn't bought a car. I would have known, but Lisa had gotten a new car 3 months ago. I knew because it was in the school parking lot when I'd just left. A nice SUV. I'd seen her name on the parking permit. Marcus had bought his mistress a car with our savings. I took screenshots of everything. Then I called the private investigator Jasmine had recommended. Trevor Mitchell was an ex-cop turned private investigator, came highly recommended for divorce cases. I need to know everything about my husband's affair, I told him. How long it's really been going on, what he's been hiding and everything about the woman he's with. What's her name? Lisa Bennett? She teaches yoga, or runs a yoga studio. He funded it. Give me 2 weeks. I don't have 2 weeks. I need this information as fast as possible. My husband is positioning himself to take primary custody of my daughter. Trevor's expression shifted. Parental alienation case? Yes, those are ugly. I'll prioritize it. Give me 1 week. That week was the longest of my life. I started documenting everything. Every interaction with Zoe. Every time Marcus excluded me from decisions or information, I also started being present. Really present. I left work at 5 p.m. every day. First time in years. My colleagues were shocked. My boss asked if everything was okay. Family emergency, I said, which was true. I picked Zoe up from school myself. Made dinner, helped with homework, read bedtime stories. Zoe was confused at first. Where's Daddy? Where's Aunt Lisa? I'm here, baby. Mommy's here, but the distance between us was palpable. She was polite, but reserved. Like I was a stranger. She was being forced to spend time with. It broke my heart. One night I tried to talk to her about Lisa. Zoe, I need you to understand something about Aunt Lisa. I love Aunt Lisa. She's so nice. I know she's nice, baby. But she's not your aunt. She's Daddy's friend. I know that. But she's like family. She's always there. The unspoken accusation. Unlike you, baby. How often does Aunt Lisa come to our house? A lot. She comes over when you work late. She and Daddy make dinner together. She helps me with homework. She reads to me before bed. Does Aunt Lisa ever sleep here? Zoe nodded enthusiastically. Sometimes, when you have to work overnight, she sleeps in your bed with Daddy. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. In my bed, while I'm traveling for work. Yeah, she says it's okay because you're not using it. I was shaking. Zoe, do you understand that Aunt Lisa shouldn't be sleeping in Mommy and Daddy's bed? Why not? You're not there. 8 years old. She didn't understand what was wrong with this picture because Marcus and Lisa had normalized it. Has Aunt Lisa ever said anything about me? Zoe hesitated. She says you work a lot because you love your job, that you're really busy and important. What else? She says it's okay that you're not home much, that she's happy to help take care of me, that every little girl deserves someone who's there for them. The implication was clear, and it was coming from Lisa. Did Aunt Lisa ever say that I don't want to be home? Zoe looked at her hands. She said you love your job more than anything, that some moms are just like that it doesn't mean you're bad, just that you have different priorities. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. Instead, I pulled Zoe into a hug. Baby, I love you more than anything in the world, more than any job. I'm sorry I haven't been around enough, but that's going to change. I promise. Zoe hugged me back, but it felt obligatory. The damage had been done. 1 week later, Trevor called. I have your information. It's extensive. You should come to my office. I went immediately. Trevor laid it all out on his desk. Photos, documents, timeline. The affair started 18 months ago. Not 6 months like your husband claimed. 18 months. A year and a half. Marcus met Lisa at a gym, like he said, but it wasn't casual. Within 2 weeks they were sleeping together. Within a month, he'd introduced her to your daughter. Trevor showed me photos. Marcus and Lisa at restaurants, walking hand in hand in parks, kissing. Photos with Zoe, Lisa pushing Zoe on swings, helping her with a school project, the three of them looking like a family, all while I was at work. Here's where it gets calculated, Trevor said. I found text messages between Marcus and Lisa. Your husband wasn't careful about digital security. He showed me the texts. Lisa to Marcus. When are you going to tell Simone? Marcus to Lisa. Soon. But we need to make sure Zoe is bonded to you first. Courts favor the parent who's been present. Lisa, I'll keep coming to school events. The more people see us as a family, the better for custody. Marcus. Exactly. Let Simone keep working herself to death. We're building the case every day. I felt nauseous. This had been planned. Systematic. Deliberate. There's more, Trevor said. Lisa Bennett has a history. He pulled out another file. 5 years ago she was involved with a married man in Charleston, Robert Winters. He had 2 kids. Lisa befriended the kids, became close to them. The wife, Sharon Winters, was a surgeon, worked long hours. Lisa positioned herself as the primary female figure in the kids' lives. Robert divorced Sharon. Custody battle. Robert got primary custody because he could prove he'd been more present with Lisa's help. What happened to Lisa and Robert? They dated for 8 months after the divorce. Then Lisa left him, moved on. Robert was devastated. The kids were devastated. They'd bonded with Lisa and she just disappeared. I stared at the file. She's done this before. Yes, and based on the pattern she'll do it again. She targets married fathers, inserts herself into the family dynamic, helps destroy the marriage, then moves on once the excitement fades. Why didn't Robert warn Marcus? I contacted Robert. He said he tried. He saw Marcus and Lisa together at a business conference 6 months after his divorce finalized. He pulled Marcus aside, told him to be careful. Marcus didn't listen, told Robert he was just bitter. I took all the files, all the evidence. One more thing, Trevor said. The yoga studio Marcus funded. It's not profitable. Lisa's burning through money. She has significant debt, credit cards maxed out. She's financially dependent on Marcus. So this isn't even about love. It's about money. For Lisa, I'd say it's about control and narcissistic supply. For Marcus, I think he's genuinely infatuated, probably experiencing what therapists call affair fog. He's so caught up in the excitement that he's not thinking clearly. I took all the evidence to Jasmine. She spread it across her conference table, reviewing every document, every photo, every text message. This is gold, she said. Absolute gold, the premeditation, the text showing calculated parental alienation, the financial fraud, and Lisa's history. This changes everything. What do? We file for divorce immediately. We request emergency custody modification based on new evidence. And we make damn sure the judge sees all of this. Will it work? Jasmine looked at me seriously. Simone, family court is unpredictable, but this is the strongest case for parental alienation I've seen in years. Marcus has been systematically replacing you in Zoe's life. That's psychological abuse of the child. Combined with financial fraud, he embezzled over $35,000 from marital funds and Lisa's predatory history. Yes, I think we can win, but you need to be prepared for this to get ugly. Marcus thought he had this locked up. When he realizes we have evidence, he's going to fight dirty. I don't care. He tried to steal my daughter. I'll do whatever it takes. We filed the next day. Divorce petition citing irreconcilable differences in Marcus's adultery. Request for primary physical custody. Request for emergency modification of temporary custody arrangements based on evidence of parental alienation. We attached everything. The texts, the financial records. Trevor's investigative report on Lisa. Marcus was served at work. He called me an hour later, screaming, "Are you insane? You're trying to take Zoe from me. You tried to take her from me first. I'm her father. I've been there for her. You've been replacing me with your mistress. That's parental alienation. Marcus, it's illegal. That's bullshit. I stepped up because you were absent. You embezzled $35,000 from our savings to fund your affair. You bought Lisa a car with our money. You funded her business without my knowledge or consent. That's financial fraud." Silence on the other end. "We go to court next week," I said. "Bring your lawyer." I hung up. The emergency custody hearing was brutal. Marcus's lawyer, a sharp white man named Davidson, tried to paint me as an absentee mother who suddenly cared about her daughter only because of the divorce. Mrs. Carter has missed countless school events, parent-teacher conferences, and extracurricular activities. She has prioritized her career over her child. Now, facing divorce, she suddenly wants to be Mother of the Year? Jasmine countered with the texts. "Your Honor, Mr. Carter's absence of Mrs. Carter at these events was not by accident. It was by design. I'd like to enter into evidence text messages between Mr. Carter and Miss Lisa Bennett." She pulled them up on the courtroom screen. Lisa to Marcus, "Keep taking me to school events. The more people see us as a family, the better." Marcus to Lisa, "Once Simone sees how close Zoe and I are, she'll know she can't win custody." The judge, a black woman in her 60s named Judge Whitmore, read them carefully. "Mr. Carter, did you deliberately exclude your wife from school events?" "No, Your Honor. She was always working." "Did you inform her of these events?" Marcus hesitated. "Sometimes." "Did you actively include Miss Bennett in parental activities while excluding your wife?" "Miss Bennett was helping." "Answer the question. Yes or no." "Yes, but..." "And did you, as these messages indicate, do so strategically to build a custody case?" Marcus's lawyer jumped in. "Your Honor, those messages are taken out of context." "Context?" Judge Whitmore's voice was sharp. "The context appears to be a deliberate plan to alienate the child from her mother. That's what I'm seeing." She turned to the financial documents. "Mr. Carter, did you withdraw $35,000 from marital funds without your wife's knowledge?" "We have a joint account. I have access." "Did you use those funds to finance a personal relationship?" "I was helping Lisa start a business. With marital assets. Without your spouse's knowledge or consent?" Marcus had no good answer. Judge Whitmore reviewed the rest of the evidence. Lisa's history. The investigator's report. "I'm very troubled by what I'm seeing here. This appears to be a calculated effort to replace Mrs. Carter in her daughter's life. The court takes parental alienation seriously." She made her ruling. "Temporary custody is modified. Primary physical custody to Mrs. Carter effective immediately. Mr. Carter will have supervised visitation pending further evaluation." "Supervised?" Marcus's lawyer protested. "Your Honor, that's excessive. Miss Bennett is prohibited from any contact with the minor child pending resolution of this case. If Mr. Carter violates this order, visitation will be suspended entirely." Marcus looked like he'd been slapped. I felt a weight lift off my chest. But winning temporary custody was just the beginning. Zoe was furious with me. "I want to stay with Daddy and Aunt Lisa." "You're being mean, baby. Daddy and Lisa did some things that weren't okay. You're just jealous because I love Aunt Lisa. She's nicer than you." The words cut deep, but I understood. Zoe was 8. She'd been manipulated. She didn't understand what had really happened. I enrolled both of us in therapy. Dr. Maya Franklin was a black woman in her 50s who specialized in parental alienation and custody cases. She met with me first. Miss Carter, what you're describing is textbook parental alienation. Your husband and his partner deliberately undermined your relationship with your daughter over an extended period. How do I fix it? It takes time. Zoe has been taught to view you as the absent parent who doesn't care. Those beliefs don't disappear overnight. Dr. Franklin explained the process. The alienating parent in this case, your husband, creates what we call replacement parenting. They position another adult as the primary emotional figure while simultaneously undermining the targeted parent. Your husband did this by handling all school communication, attending events exclusively with his partner, and allowing your daughter to form an attachment to his partner while distancing from you. The partner, Lisa, reinforced this by making subtle digs. Your mom works a lot because she loves her job. Some moms just have different priorities. These statements aren't overtly hostile, but they plant seeds of doubt about your love and commitment. How do I undo that damage? Consistency. You need to be present now, not just physically but emotionally. Show Zoe through actions, not words, that you're here for her, and understand that she may resist at first. She's been programmed to prefer the other parental figure. Breaking through that programming takes time and patience. Dr. Franklin also met with Zoe. After their first session, she pulled me aside. Your daughter has been significantly impacted. She genuinely believes you don't care about her as much as you care about work. She views Lisa as the primary maternal figure, but there's hope. Children are resilient. With consistent presence and therapy, Zoe can rebuild her attachment to you. It won't be easy. She'll test you. She'll push back. But if you stay consistent, you'll get through to her. I made massive changes in my life. I talked to my boss at the firm, told him I needed reduced hours indefinitely. Simone, you're on track to make partner. I don't care about making partner right now. I care about keeping my daughter. He wasn't happy, but he agreed to move me to a less demanding caseload. I cut my hours from 60 per week to 40, left the office by 5 p.m. every day, stopped taking work home on weekends, and I showed up for Zoe. Every morning, I made her breakfast, drove her to school, picked her up every afternoon, helped with homework, made dinner, read bedtime stories. At first she resisted everything. Aunt Lisa makes better pancakes. Daddy helps me with math better. I want Aunt Lisa to read to me, but I stayed consistent, patient, present. Slowly, very slowly, things started to shift. 2 weeks into the new routine, Zoe forgot her lunchbox at home. I was at work when the school called. I left immediately, brought her the lunchbox. When I walked into the cafeteria, Zoe's face lit up. Mom, you brought it. She hugged me. A real hug. It was the first time in months she'd seemed genuinely happy to see me. 3 weeks in, Zoe had a nightmare. She woke up crying. Usually she called for Marcus, but he wasn't there. This time she called for me. Mom, Mommy. I ran to her room, held her while she cried about the scary dream. I dreamed you went away and never came back. I'm never going away, baby. I'm right here. I'll always be here. She fell asleep in my arms. Small breakthrough. Meanwhile, the custody case was progressing. The court ordered a full custody evaluation. A social worker, Miss Patterson, was assigned to interview both parents, observe interactions with Zoe, and make a recommendation. Miss Patterson interviewed Marcus first. He was charming, presented himself as the devoted father holding the family together while his wife prioritized her career. He showed photos him at Zoe's soccer games, school plays, birthday parties. Many included Lisa. He described Lisa as a close family friend providing support during a difficult time. When Miss Patterson interviewed me, she asked pointed questions. Why did you miss so many school events? I was working. I'm a litigation attorney with a demanding caseload. I trusted my husband to handle those events. Were you aware your husband was bringing another woman to these events? No. He never told me. He deliberately excluded me while including her. Why didn't you notice what was happening? Because I trusted my husband. I thought he was being supportive by handling things while I worked. I didn't realize he was systematically replacing me. Mrs. Patterson observed me with Zoe. We did homework together, baked cookies, played board games. Zoe was more relaxed with me now than she'd been a month ago. Still some distance, but improving. Miss Patterson also interviewed Zoe separately. I wasn't allowed to know what Zoe said, but I could guess. My daughter had spent months bonding with Lisa and distancing from me. her loyalty was still conflicted. 4 months after filing for divorce, we had the final custody hearing. Marcus's lawyer made his case. Marcus had been the present parent. He'd attended school functions, managed Zoe's schedule, knew her teachers and friends. Simone had been absent, focused on career advancement at the expense of her child. Jasmine countered with evidence of systematic alienation. Your Honor, Mr. Carter didn't just step up because his wife was working. He deliberately excluded her, introduced his mistress into parental roles, and actively undermined the mother-daughter relationship. She presented the texts again, the financial fraud evidence. Lisa's history, this was calculated, Your Honor. Mr. Carter saw his wife's career as an opportunity to replace her. And he brought in Miss Bennett, a woman with a documented history of inserting herself into families only to leave once the excitement fades. This isn't about being a present parent, it's about destroying the existing parent-child bond to justify his affair. We also had expert testimony. Dr. Franklin took the stand. I've been working with Mrs. Carter and Zoe for 4 months. In my professional opinion, Zoe was subjected to parental alienation tactics. Mr. Carter positioned his girlfriend as the primary maternal figure while making Mrs. Carter's work commitments seem like abandonment. This created a distorted reality where Zoe believed her mother didn't care. The good news is that with consistent presence from Mrs. Carter and therapy, Zoe's attachment is healing. She's rebuilding her relationship with her mother. However, if custody is returned to Mr. Carter at this point, especially with Miss Bennett still in the picture, the alienation will continue. Zoe needs stability with her mother to fully recover. Ms. Patterson, the custody evaluator, also testified. Initially, I was inclined to recommend primary custody to Mr. Carter based on his historical presence. However, after reviewing the evidence of deliberate alienation and observing Mrs. Carter's consistent engagement over the past 4 months, my recommendation has changed. Mrs. Carter has demonstrated genuine commitment to rebuilding her relationship with her daughter. Zoe is responding positively. In my professional opinion, Zoe's best interest is served by primary physical custody with Mrs. Carter. The judge asked Zoe to meet with her in chambers. Private conversation, no parents present. When they came out 20 minutes later, Judge Whitmore made her ruling. I've reviewed all the evidence and testimony. I've spoken with Zoe directly. This is a troubling case of parental alienation that could have caused permanent damage to the mother-daughter relationship. Mr. Carter, you deliberately undermined your wife's relationship with her daughter while promoting your girlfriend as a replacement parent. That is not acceptable. Furthermore, your use of marital funds to support your affair and your girlfriend's business constitutes financial fraud. She delivered her orders. Primary physical custody is awarded to Mrs. Carter. Mr. Carter will have visitation every other weekend and 1 evening per week. Miss Bennett is prohibited from contact with Zoe for a minimum of 1 year. This prohibition may be revisited after 1 year, if appropriate. Mr. Carter is ordered to pay child support of $2,500 per month. Mr. Carter is ordered to repay $35,000 plus interest to the marital estate, representing funds fraudulently used for his affair. Mr. Carter is also responsible for Mrs. Carter's legal fees in the amount of $45,000. Regarding division of marital assets, Mrs. Carter is awarded the marital home. Mr. Carter is awarded 30% of remaining marital assets, reduced from the standard 50% due to financial fraud. Marcus looked devastated. His lawyer tried to object, but the judge shut it down. My ruling stands. This case demonstrates clear and convincing evidence of parental alienation and financial fraud. The court will not reward that behavior. I walked out of that courtroom with primary custody of my daughter. The months that followed were about healing. Zoe and I continued therapy. Our relationship improved steadily. 6 months post-divorce, Zoe told Dr. Franklin, I understand now what Daddy and Aunt Lisa did. They made me think Mom didn't love me, but she was just working to take care of us. How do you feel about that? Dr. Franklin asked, sad and mad at Daddy. He lied to me and I was mean to Mom because of it. We had a conversation that night. Mom, I'm sorry I was mean to you. Maybe you didn't know what was happening. It's not your fault. But I said awful things. I told you I liked Aunt Lisa better. You were confused. Daddy and Lisa made you think certain things that weren't true. Now you know the truth. Do you forgive me? I pulled her into a hug. There's nothing to forgive. I love you no matter what. Zoe also had to process her feelings about her father. She still saw Marcus every other weekend, but their relationship was strained. Daddy keeps saying you turned me against him, Zoe told me one day. But that's not true. He turned me against you first. Marcus and Lisa broke up 7 months after the custody ruling. Apparently, once the excitement of the affair faded, and Marcus couldn't provide the financial support she wanted, Lisa lost interest. She moved on to someone else. Just like she'd done with Robert in Charleston. Marcus was devastated. He called me drunk at 2 a.m. You were right about her. She didn't love me. She just wanted, I don't know what she wanted. She wanted to feel powerful, I said. She gets off on destroying families. I'm sorry for everything. I ruined our family for someone who didn't even care. Yes, you did. Is there any chance? No, Marcus, we're done. You made your choice. His relationship with Zoe remained strained. She was polite but distant during his visits. It's weird being at Daddy's apartment now, she told me. Without Aunt Lisa there, he seems sad and lonely. But I don't feel bad for him. He did this to himself. 1 year after the divorce, my life looked completely different. I was still working but with balance. 40-hour weeks. Home by 5:30 p.m. Weekends with Zoe. I didn't make partner that year. And I was okay with it. Because I had something more important. I had my daughter back. Zoe and I were close again. Really close. She talked to me about everything. School, friends, crushes, fears, dreams. We had movie nights every Friday. Made pancakes together every Sunday morning. Did homework side by side at the kitchen table. She stopped mentioning Lisa entirely. That chapter was closed. One evening we were making dinner together, spaghetti. Zoe's favorite. Mom, do you ever think about what would have happened if you hadn't gone to that school play? I thought about it. What do you mean? If you'd missed it? If you'd been working late and never saw Daddy with Aunt Lisa, would you have ever known? The question chilled me. I don't know, baby. Maybe not. Not for a long time. They would have kept doing it. And I would have thought you didn't care about me. And then, she trailed off. Then what? Then they would have taken me away from you. I pulled her into a hug. But that didn't happen. I did go to that play. I did find out. And I fought for you. I'm glad you did. Me too, baby. Me too. I'm Simone Carter. I'm 38 years old. 1 year ago I went to my daughter's school play and saw my husband holding hands with another woman. They sat 3 rows ahead of me like a couple. When my daughter came on stage, they stood up cheering together. She kissed him. Other parents smiled at them like they were Zoe's parents. After the play my daughter ran to them first. She called the woman Aunt Lisa and hugged her like she was family. My husband had been bringing his mistress to everything I missed for work. Parent-teacher conferences, soccer games, school events. He'd been systematically replacing me in my daughter's life while I worked to support our family. And I'd been so buried in my career that I didn't notice until it was almost too late. I learned 3 things that saved my family. First, I learned the warning signs of parental replacement that I should have seen earlier. My husband didn't just step up when I was working. He deliberately excluded me. He stopped telling me about school events. He brought his mistress to everything without mentioning it. He positioned her as the primary caregiver while making my work commitments seem like abandonment. The pattern was isolation from parental activities, replacement with another figure, and teaching the child that the absent parent doesn't care. If I could tell other working parents one thing, watch for a partner who stops communicating about your child's life, who handles everything without involving you, who makes you feel guilty for working while they create a separate family unit that excludes you. That's not supportive parenting. That's calculated alienation. Second, I learned that documentation matters more than good intentions in custody battles. My husband built a case against me for months. School volunteer logs showing him and Lisa, photos at events. Witness testimony from teachers and parents who thought Lisa was Zoe's stepmom. I had nothing. No documentation of my involvement because I hadn't been involved enough. But once I knew what was happening, I documented everything. Every text message showing premeditation, every financial record showing fraud, every interaction showing my commitment to Zoe. Courts don't care about who loves their child more. Everyone claims to love their kids. Courts care about evidence. Who's been present? Who's been involved? Who can prove it? If you're facing a custody battle, document everything. Save texts. Take photos. Keep records. Evidence wins cases. Third, I learned that being the breadwinner doesn't protect you if you're not present. I'd believed that my career, my financial support was my contribution to the family. That Marcus handling the day-to-day parenting was a fair division of labor. But family courts don't see it that way. They see who's been there for the child's daily needs. Who knows the teacher's name? Who attends the events? Being the provider matters. But being present matters more. I almost lost my daughter because I prioritized my career over presence. Not because I didn't love her, I loved her desperately, but because love without presence isn't enough in custody court. I had to change everything. Cut my hours, leave the office at 5 p.m. Stop taking work home. Be there for breakfast, homework, bedtime. It cost me a partnership track. It cost me professionally, but it saved my relationship with my daughter. And that's worth more than any promotion. If you're facing parental alienation, complete resources including family court procedures, parental alienation specialists, and custody evaluation guides are listed in the description below. Choose presence. Choose documentation. Choose your children. Because careers can be rebuilt, but childhood only happens once. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps someone recognize the warning signs and fight for their relationship with their children before it's too late.